How important do you think accountability is, when you reflect on what you went through?
I mean, it's everything. Because I mean, if you're not gonna be accountable, then how do you learn from it? How do you grow from it? Like I could sit back and keep talking about what I would have wanted, what she could have did, but at the end of the day, I could control myself.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my comfy couch. Today we have a guest on that you've seen before. James, say hi to everyone.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Yes, James has been on our show if you looked at our episode where we had different podcasters on. So, James, you want to tell us again what is the name of your podcast and where can folks find you before we start our conversation today?
The name of my podcast is Conversations with Lamp, and it's available on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts.
Okay, what do you talk about on the show? Tell them a little bit about your show.
My podcast is more interview style. I have different guests. Uh, we it's so many range of topics. I really don't talk about politics too much, but pretty much anything else like politics and religion, I kind of stay away from. But
Ooh,
everything else,
smart.
yeah, no, I don't because it's not a it's a draining conversation to have, and I don't want to have it, so I just leave it alone.
No, I totally understand. James, I was actually listening to one of the podcasts that you sent me recently, and I've been wanting to have you on the show to talk about this for a while. And I just want to first tell you how brave I think you are for actually recording a session about your divorce. So you were recently divorced. You went through the divorce in December of last year, right?
Yeah, it's December 2022.
Yes. And you recently did a podcast, which you guys should definitely check that out. A lot of great lessons in there. I thought you were really vulnerable, very open, relatable. I loved it.
Well,
But I
thank
really wanted you to be on the show to really help others because a lot of our audience are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. So divorce is a real thing to people that are out there kind of at that age trying to date. And some people might be in relationships where it might, be heading that way. And I think this is a great opportunity for folks to not only hear your story, but learn from what you have gone through. So I want to thank you so much for making that video and for agreeing to be on this show.
Oh, no problem.
So let's dive into it. What I thought was very interesting about your story was how long you were married for. How long were you married for, James?
19 years.
Yeah, so 19, I was like, wow. You think, once you make it past the 7 year itch, you make it past the 10 years, you're like 15, you're like, okay, we rocking this thing for life. So tell me how in the world was that to like go through 19 years and then come to this point?
It was. I mean, it was pretty tough. Like when it first happened, I was like I wasn't really sure. If we was I wasn't sure if we was gonna make it or not. Like, but as months went on, like from the time we decided to separate, as months went on, I knew we wasn't gonna make it.
So at what point was it like at what year mark were you guys, kind of heading in that route?
What year? Like
Was it year 17, 18, 10, 9? Like at what
it
point?
was. I'm gonna be honest. It kind of just happened kind of just happened like out the blue.
Really?
Yeah, we just came to a mutual understanding. Like we came to an understanding that we should get a divorce. Like it wasn't no I mean it like put it like this. It probably was years in the making. I just didn't see it. If that
Okay,
makes
because that's what I'm gonna ask. Like, to normally there's a lead up, you know what I mean, to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a shocker more so to you than her, you think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was.
Okay. Okay, because I noticed that you did mention that she had previously, mentioned things that were concerning to her.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about that because I feel like a lot of women and people in relationships will voice, what's going on. And sometimes they feel like, okay, the guy might hear and might change for a little bit, but then go back and revert to the same ways because they're comfortable. So you want to touch some more about your experience in that sense of maybe when she had mentioned things, how did that go for you? Ma'am?
It was so like when she would mention something, it would change like for maybe like a couple weeks, maybe even a month. And you get so comfortable, you get so like you in your routine, like it's hard to change. So eh, the thing I was hearing her, but it was just hard to make the adjustments, like with with everyday life, and it it just you just get so comfortable, and it's just hard to make that adjustment.
Yeah, and because that's the thing I hear very often is, people just get comfortable. So, in hindsight, you think that one of the lessons maybe you can give to couples that are together or thinking of getting married is to watch, not getting too comfortable and making sure you're kind of still doing those things you did to make the person fall in love with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can say it because I had it like there was times I had it on my mind. It's just the execution part just be it's just off. So I could tell people, don't get comfortable, do the things that you've been doing, but it's easier said than done.
Oh, for sure. Because the thing is, I remember you mentioned in the recording that you were, because I think one of the main issues she had was about you being romantic. And you
Yeah.
said that initially you were like that, right, with her initially, being those things to her. So what do you think, made that change for you where you kind of stopped doing those things?
I mean, I was somewhat romantic in the end, but it's like when that new fresh feeling wear off, like it's just hard to be romantic. Especially
Oh my,
if you're not really a romantic person by nature. Like because I
yeah.
don't know if I was really that romantic to begin with. It's just it was
Mhm.
enough. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's just enough. It's not like I was just overly romantic guy where she would be like texting her friends and people like, look what he did. But it was enough. It was enough at that time, and then that that little bit started to fall off.
hmm and again, that's a common thing I hear from, women and men like, hey, he's not romantic and that kind of thing. And I kind of hear guys saying, well, dang, I go to work, I come home, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm there for you. Why is that not enough? Like, why I got to do this extra romantic thing if I'm really here? And like you said, the newness runs off. Do you think, because to me, I get the sentiment that guys feel like women want a divorce for dumb shit, right? Like it's not, hey, he's cheating, hey, these things. It's, hey, he's not romantic, he's not making me feel a certain kind of way. Like, honestly, did you feel that way when she was telling you those kinds of things? Like, did you feel like, damn, well, I'm doing everything else? Like, why? Really? Like, did you feel that way?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on how important it is to that person.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that important to me, so I can't say what's a good reason for anybody. Not really necessarily a good reason. Like people have their reasons for ending marriages all the time. So like if you feel that strong about it, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like I guess
Okay.
it's like okay. I mean, if it's that important to you,
Okay. And I do want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Okay, guys, let me know. Women, let me know as well if you how you think about that. The other thing I wanted to mention, which I thought was really good that you discussed about, was the love languages. I think I'm such a supporter of that, like knowing how to love someone the way that they desire to be loved. You spoke about how you were more of a gift giver, like that was the way you showed love, but was by getting gifts and giving gifts. So you thought maybe by giving gifts, that's how you wanted to show her love. But it seems like she was more someone who was about, quality time, maybe spending that time with her, and maybe the romance and that kind of thing was the way she wanted to be shown love. What do you think about couples before deciding to marry somebody, making sure they understand each other's love languages and feel comfortable with keeping that up throughout the relationship?
excuse me. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's really important to like it's really important to understand someone's love language. I think that the hardest thing is just loving. It's hard to love someone the way they want to be loved because it, for I can speak for myself. It comes natural for me to love the way that I want to be loved. So I like getting gifts, and I like words of affirmation, and I like acts of service. So those are the things that come easy for me to do. Like quality, I mean, quality time is good, but it's not.
The top for
Yeah,
you.
it's not tops on my list for love language. It's not tops, and that could be just the way I grew up. It could be that, like, but it's not tops on my list. But it's important. All of them are important, but some
Yeah.
just stand out a little more.
Yeah. So I think that's very important that people learn to, because if she had a love language that coincided with how you like to give love, it wouldn't be an issue. So I
Right.
think people really need to have those discussions early on, like, hey, figure out each other's love language and see, is that something that I can do and keep consistently doing that throughout the relationship? So I thought that was a good discussion and a good lesson there. So now let's talk about what you said was the hardest part of the whole situation was when you actually moved out, which I think is a big thing that people really have to think about, because one sentence that you said, which I felt so strongly about, was that you lost part of your identity. When
Yeah.
you're a husband, that is part of your identity, and you had been married for so long. So how do you become identified as a husband, being in the house with your kid, and then, having that totally cut off? What was that experience like for you actually moving out?
Oh, that was the hardest part. Like that was just terrible. Like I mean, even now I still somewhat struggle with that. Um, just not being able to be with my child every day, not being a husband every day, because that's really all I've known. I got married at 23, and I'm 43 now. So pretty much my whole adult life, I was a husband. I was a husband, and then I became a father. So that's what I'm comfortable doing. That's what I know. So now not being that, it's a big adjustment for me. It's getting better, but it is an adjustment.
Yeah. So what do you think has been working for you to help you kind of cope and, accept and be in this new kind of role?
Um, really just accepting it. Like you just have to accept where you at. Like you got to get to a point like, okay, you're not a husband anymore. You're not in the home anymore. So that's just the big thing, just accepting life for what it is. And then, once you accept it, you start preparing, you start adjusting to it. You know, you do the, you start, you just, like for me, I started, and I just started doing this, like working out, going for walks, stuff like that. Just things to better myself.
Yes.
That's the big thing I did, was start focusing on myself.
Yes, I love that. And I feel that that is really helpful. Trying to get over any type of relationship you've been in, trying to better yourself is definitely a great way to focus and, keep your mind busy. Do you think, how has your relationship been with your daughter since this has happened? Do you think, have you noticed a shift in your relationship? Like, how are you dealing, with her regarding this?
It's good. It's a change, of course,
Hmm.
because I'm not in the house. The fact that I wasn't seeing her every day was an adjustment for both of us. And then at one point, um, there would be like it would be almost like a week that I didn't see her because I was still adjusting to living at where I was living with a friend. Um, the distance, it wasn't really far, but it was far enough where it created like it created like a scheduling conflict, like just getting off work, going to see her, going to pick her. Like she didn't live close enough where I could pick her up, and take her to where I was staying and then bring her back. That wasn't gonna work. I worked on it, like I worked on the opposite end of town, so it's like she wasn't like she could stay with me during the week. So it
Oh,
just got a little tricky. Like I
yeah.
wasn't really seeing her that much during the week because of work and the distance. Um, I would make it. I would try to go over there at least once a week, but
Mhm.
it was tough. That part was tough.
Yeah. And how did you explain what's going on to her? Like, you know what I mean? Did she ask questions? Was she like, what happened? And, how do you address it directly with her?
Um, she may ask her mom questions. She didn't really ask me questions, but she did go to therapy. So
Oh, okay.
we
So
put it.
you
We
guys
put
took
her in
that
therapy.
step to sign her up
Yeah,
for it?
soon as we made a decision to separate, we put her in therapy.
Okay. So you guys haven't done like any group sessions yet, like all together or you and her?
Nah, we never did any group sessions. No.
Okay. Okay, just curious. All right. So you think from what you're seeing, she's pretty much the same, like you haven't noticed any behavioral or anything changes
Well,
since?
at first she was really sad. At
Okay.
first she was really sad, but it's been over a year now. So she's adjusted. I feel like she's. I think she probably has her moments. I can't say for sure,
Right.
but I mean, she's 11, so I'm sure she still has moments where she wishes we were together.
Right.
Um, I think one time we all went out. We all went out to dinner to celebrate her report card. So that was, that probably was a little different for her, for us to be together and then go our separate ways afterwards. So
Yeah. So it's, all things to think about. I love that you did go the therapy route. So that was good for you to think about that beforehand.
yeah, we did that
Yeah.
soon as we made a
Mhm.
decision to
And I know,
separate.
oh,
No, I'm sorry. I
mhm.
was just saying we made that decision as soon as we
Okay.
separated.
And I remember you saying about how, especially, growing up in a single, you want to avoid having your kid grow up in a single parent home, right?
Yeah,
Because you
yeah.
look at the statistics, and especially in certain races more than others,
Mhm.
you see the prevalence of that. Was that part of your thought process in trying to stay and bring it together? Was that part of what was so heartbreaking about the situation? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. I would have. I mean, I would have stayed if we could have. If it was just for her, I would have stayed. But
Yeah.
it just wouldn't have worked. So
Yeah. Okay. So do you feel, you know what, before I wanted to go, I wanted to say that I felt like you kept it really classy because I was speaking to you, here and there while you were going through it, and you really didn't show how you were truly feeling. Like, I remember in the video you were saying how you were feeling, upset and really, angry about the situation, but you kept it classy. Like anytime I'd ask you, "Hey, how's it going?" You'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm adjusting." You never spoke down about her. You never, really showed how you felt. And I thought that was really classy of you. And I think that's important when people are going through this, that they're not throwing the person under the bus and, posting all these subliminal messages and speaking bad to the children about their spouse. Was that important to you while you were going through that?
yeah, that I mean, I had my moments of being angry, but um, going to social media and throwing her under the bus, like, what was that going to do? That's I mean, that's just going to bring other people into the situation. So you just, you just keep it. I'm not gonna say keep it to yourself, but like you could tell your circle how you feeling, and even with that, it's like I think you gotta be mindful of like who you talking about. I mean, this is this is still the mother of your child, and you did pick the woman, and you did have a lot of good times, so you don't want to just trash her. And it's just like I think that one thing I had to accept was that I will always love her, Like that's something that I had to accept. Because you're so mad and you're so angry, like you don't want to love the person, but you know it's just too much. It's too much history there, too much time. You have to. I mean, the only way you wouldn't if it's like if it was just. I mean, if it was just some damn near evil stuff going on, which it wasn't. So
What I wanted to also talk about was your faith in regards to this. I remember you mentioning that you were a man of faith and kind of going through this situation. You kind of lost faith in you guys getting back together. Like, do you think this experience has changed the way you perceive God or your relationship with God, or what part did faith, kind of play, or your connection with God play into this? Because I know some people feel like, oh man, I thought this person was for me. I thought God blessed this marriage. And then when it falls out, when it, doesn't work out, people feel like, okay, was that really God wanting me with that person? Where is God in this whole thing?
no, it didn't. It didn't shake my faith. I said I had lost faith in the marriage.
Yeah.
I didn't lose faith in God. No,
Hmm.
because it's I mean it- we I think if we had I think if we had done better work in the like as things was going on previously, we could have got through it. But we wasn't doing the proper work um years ago. And then it just kept growing. It did,
Hmm.
it just kept growing and the issues kept getting it wasn't even big issues, but it's just like it was something it was just when you don't address small issues, they just keep growing. And then it gets to a point you can't even control it. So that's the main thing. We just didn't do the work. So I can't say God didn't put us together. I mean, we did a lot of great things. We accomplished a lot of great things together. So
So now
I
that's
have a really
interesting.
hard
Now,
time saying that. Say that again. I'm sorry.
no, I was saying that um I said it's interesting what you said about, not letting things pile up. So do you think that when you guys were experiencing different things, you weren't voicing it enough, or when someone voiced it, you just kept it going, there was no resolution? Like, what do you mean? What exactly
Uh,
happened?
we wasn't we wasn't voicing. I don't think we was voicing it enough. And then we when we did, um, probably wasn't any real effort. Like I could be honest. Like I didn't really have too many issues. Like, and I'm not saying this to um make anybody look good or bad. It was just I'm really simple. So I didn't really have any issues, so it wasn't really anything for me to bring up. Like, I mean, I just really feel like men are a lot more simple than women. That's no
Mm.
that's no knock. I'm not trying to say nothing bad about women. It's just they're different. Like they have more needs than men. It's just it's just different. Like it's
And
different.
that's interesting because I do hear men say that, and it's often kind of a somewhat a complaint. I hear like, you guys want this laundry list of stuff, I've got to be your best friend, I've got to be a man, but I've also got to be, compassionate. It's like you have to have this balance. You have all these needs that you need to meet from a woman, but for you guys, it seems like it's just basic, just feed us, do this, like these three or four things, and we good to go.
Yeah, we pretty simple. I mean, women, and again, like I said, I'm not. This is not no shot at women or nothing.
I know.
The makeup of men and women are different. Like women got emotional needs that need to be met. I'm not saying men don't, but um, it's really important for women. Like you got to be emotionally available. There's just so many different things that women need. They want to be number one. They want to be romanced. They want to be complimented. And I'm not saying men don't want to be complimented. It's just women like really need that. Like, they want to know like even after all these years, you still love them, you still feel the same way about them. So it's just it's different and it's okay. Like it's okay. Like we just
It
gotta
is
we really
different.
gotta get to a point where we understand like we're different and it's okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Love it. The last thing I wanted to kind of mention before you give any tips you want to give to people who are thinking of getting married, people who are going through a divorce or anything like that. So while you think of those tips, also I wanted to mention the word that I love that you used was accountability when I listened to the video. You
Oh yeah.
took accountability, which I think is something so lacking nowadays. It's so easy to just look at what that person did, how they made you feel and everything, and not take the accountability to say, hey, what part or what role did I play in all of this? So, how important do you think accountability is, when you reflect on what you went through?
I mean, it's everything because I mean, you're not going to be accountable. Then how do you learn from it? How do you grow from it? Like I could sit back and keep talking about what I would have wanted, what she could have did, but at the end of the day, I could control myself. You know what I can do, what I could give. So that's why I had to take accountability because I'll have other relationships, possibly marriage. It just depends. And I have to learn from this experience so I could be better for the next one.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely take that time to reflect and be accountable for your role. Um, Now you did segue into what I did want to ask you is, are you in the dating field again? I think that's a huge part of it too after going through this whole process. Because I noticed that, like, I'll meet guys who are divorced, and it seems like they're either not open to anything serious, or they like jump into the next one, to the next one, to the next one. It's like to find someone that's kind of balanced after going through that, I find challenging. So, how do you feel about, your dating life now that, this has transpired?
I'm still adjusting. Like, I'm still adjusting. Like I like I enj- like I'm starting to enjoy it more. I wasn't doing it a lot, but actually it's just like, you gotta get out here, you just gotta meet women, and just enjoy the moment. Like that's really all I'm doing. I'm just enjoying the moment. Like I'm honest about where I'm at. Like, I'll tell any woman like, hey, this is where I'm at. I just got a divorce and I'm not ready to be serious. And if that's what you're looking for, I understand. I don't want to waste your time. I think that's the main thing, like just not wasting nobody's time. I mean, because some women will tell you, "Oh, I don't want to be serious," but they do, and that's fine. I mean, but that's not what we agreed upon. So, long
Oh,
as I'm honest about where I'm at, then that's all I could control. I can't control if a woman says, "Oh no, let's just date, let's just have fun," and she wants something more than that. I can't control that, but I can
mhm.
control me saying, "Hey, this is where I'm at. If you're okay with that, we can go out, we can hang out. But if you're not okay with that, I understand that, and you should continue to look for somebody else." And I'm in total favor of any woman that I'm spending time with other men. Like, don't make me your primary option. Like,
Ooh.
because
So do
I'm
you think
because I'm not because if you're really looking to like settle down and get married, like I'm kind of like a filler, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm just somebody that you wanted to have a good time with. We went out, we got something to eat, we watched the movie, whatever we did, and that's fine. But there could be a man who you know is much better suited to be with you. Like that's what he wants. He wants to be with you only. He wants to, make you a wife. And I don't know, I don't know if you want kids or anything, but he wants to make you a wife and he wants to give you the desires of your heart. And if that's not what I'm willing to do, I will never stand in your way. So
so do you think that you're feeling that way just like for now? Do you think you could see yourself getting to the point where you do want something serious again?
oh yeah, I know I will. I want something,
Okay.
but it's just right now. I know that I'm not where I need to be, to be in anything serious. Like like I was in a situation where it could have got serious, but I just what like as time went on and as the situation continued to progress, it became evident that I wasn't ready for that, and I shouldn't have been moving the way I was moving. But I
Mm,
didn't know. Like I've never been divorced before. I've never been in this situation before. So I
mhm.
learned from that. I'm like, okay, I was probably not probably, I was moving incorrectly. Like I should have
Ooh.
taken some time to like really process what was going on and been honest about what was going on. Cause I don't think I was really honest with myself about where
Mm,
I was at. Like it's a level of acceptance to say, hey, you know what? I'm really proud. Like I was married 19 years, so no matter what I say, the reality is I'm probably not good. So let's just take a step
mm,
back, get yourself together,
mm,
regroup, focus. Do something for yourself, make yourself good. Because you
mm.
can't, I can't be a 100% partner to somebody right now. Like I could probably like you could like the funny thing is a broken version of me may be okay for you right now, but
Mm,
is that will it last forever? I don't know, and I don't
mm,
want to give you a broken version of me. Like I need to be in a space where I'm actually good. Like I'm healed. I'm happy. You know, I need to be in that space where I'm adding to your life. Like I don't want to be taken away from you. So that's why I had to
ooh.
get there. I'm good. Like okay, and I'm getting there. I'm not there yet. So that's why I'm not. That's why I'm just enjoying myself. Like
Mhm.
I'm just
So
enjoying.
that's a good lesson. That's a good lesson for those who are listening who might be, headed that way or on, recently in that situation that, yes, take the time to think about, okay, and be honest with yourself. Where am I right now? And if I am going to be out there dating women, can I be honest with them about how I'm feeling right now and not lead them on or, act a different way where their feelings might get involved?
I mean,
So,
really, the crazy thing is, you think you being honest with yourself. Like I wasn't. I didn't feel like I was lying to myself. It's just as time went on, now I see like I really needed to like take some time to myself. Like
yeah,
isolate, like not because I had this plan of not dealing with anybody, not talking to nobody, but I'm human.
exactly.
So it
So
didn't work.
has the dating world changed 19, 20 years later?
Oh,
Like it no?
I
Yeah?
don't know. I
Huh?
mean, I like it was so long ago, and I really did like I wasn't I didn't date a lot. I really only dated my wife. Like so, it's not like I was this serial
Out there.
dater where I had all these different experiences I could go by. I can only go by now, and it's to me it's fine. Like I don't I don't so I'm always in the mindset that everything will be fine. So
Mhm.
for me, I'm always looking at I'm operating in the mindset of abundance. That there's
Mm,
plenty of women out here, like it's
mm.
good women. So all I need to do is just be myself. I don't need to I don't need to do nothing spectacular. Um, I'm
Right now.
like I'm not one of these. Oh, I'm a high value man and all that crazy stuff. But I know that I'm a good catch. So there's no need for me to be like nervous or yeah. I just if I decide to spend time with a woman, like we'll have a good time and we'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha. All right. So lastly, James, again, thank you so much for being so transparent and agreeing to be on here. Do you have any tips, any lasting kind of words you want to leave for folks who, are going through a similar process, might be headed that way, or those afterwards, trying to date and those types of things? Do you have any, or just for folks that are thinking of getting married, any tips for trying to keep a lasting relationship? Just what do you have for us, James? You've been through all this.
I
What do you
mean,
think?
the big thing is just continue to communicate, continue to date. Um, I was staying with some friends. It was a friend and his wife. And one day, me and his wife was talking, and she gave me some really great advice. She told me to always keep the word date in your vocabulary.
Mm,
So what she explained it to me was, we know anybody that's been married for a long time knows there's going to be some nights that you know your wife not going to cook. So instead of just saying, hey, all right, we'll just go out to get something to eat or whatever, say, hey, I would like to take you out on a date. And it could be a
mhm.
Tuesday. Now we both knew that you wasn't cooking anyway. But the fact that you use the term date as opposed to let's just go get something to eat, it just changed the dynamics of what happens.
Absolutely.
I was like, damn, so I'll make sure to keep that word in my vocabulary. Date. I'm not saying if I'm married to a woman, I'm not saying, hey, we're just gonna pick up something to eat. At least I'm gonna try to be conscious of it. I'm not saying I'm 100%
Oh,
do it, but
I like that. I like that.
so I appreciate her giving me that advice.
Anything else you wanted to leave?
It's just I mean, it's continue to communicate, pray.
Mm,
It's hard not to get comfortable, but just try your best not to get comfortable because it just makes the relationship um it weighs on the relationship being comfortable. Um Focus. Like one thing that I know that the next time I'll be more I'll focus more on intimacy, and I'm not talking
mm,
about sex. I'm talking about like just intimate moments, like just you and her. Not you had a moment and you sharing it with social media, like just you and your woman. Like even if it's just listening to some music or just laying there talking, however you decide to create an intimate moment, like that's
mm.
something that you should work on.
Love it. Love it, James. James, tell them again where can they find your podcast and check you out, especially this recording that you did. Where can they check you out? And what's your name again? One more time for us.
So I'm on Instagram. My Instagram name is conversations underscore with underscore lamp. My Facebook is also conversations with lamp. The podcast is on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, so you guys check it out and support James. James, thank you again and blessings on your work and your future in relationships. And we hope to hear good things from you soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again.
Thanks for
All
inviting.
right. And sorry?
I said thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course, you're welcome. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Leave your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe, share the video, tell a friend about the show, and we'll see you next time on My Comfy Couch. Toodles.